a regular viewer of this channel, you may be aware that there is one thing I have done rather a lot of lately. That thing is moving my entire guitar workshop to a new place. In fact, I've done so twice in the last 2 years alone. And if you did watch those videos, you're probably even more confused about the fact I do not appear to be in either in this video. Well, strap in because it is a long story, but I think it's a good one. Let's start right at the beginning, which actually is right here on this YouTube channel. Last year, I filmed a video where I documented every single part of a guitar's conception from my London-based workshop. I even included the hand delivery to my client out in Florida, which of course meant that I had to board a flight with that guitar. It was actually my best performing video to date, so maybe if you're here now, you've also seen that. And if you were keen enough to watch all the way to the end, you may have seen the credit section. In this section, I thanked my client, Rob, the Rob Report, who were my dealers who made the project possible. Thirdly, I thanked another Rob who I met on the plane who provided a welcome distraction from my nerves, which were significant at that point. In order to round off the triad of Robs, I felt like I should include this last one, this tertiary Rob. Just felt like a nice little way to round off the story that we'd met during that flight. For those of you who watched to the end, you'll know that that particular Rob, the last one, had a very special question to ask me. No less on the day that the video was posted. For those of you who've asked in the comment section, my answer to that question after careful consideration was no. Just kidding, he's really handsome and great. It was yes. Now you may be wondering why I'm bringing up aspects of my personal life, and believe me, it's not something that I would choose to do particularly readily usually, but I feel like I owe it to you guys to give you the full story. If you're not following along here, I met Rob on the plane when I was delivering my guitar. We hung out when we got back to London because he's a very handsome man, and we entered into a relationship. Now, I wouldn't be here if it was all as simple as running into the sunset and that was it, because Rob from the plane was Australian.
G'day.
Moreover, he was moving back to Australia imminently. You don't have to be a geography graduate to understand the gravity of this situation. Australia is very far from London. It's actually one of the furthest places that you can go from London. However, all was not lost. I was actually down to visit Australia for a project anyway, which I'll touch upon another time because one thing at a time. So I thought, why don't I visit my new special friend in Australia at the same time? Otherwise, we probably never would have been able to see each other again. Also a great chance to explore the local flora and fauna, and of course, the bird life of Australia in his local hometown with him as my personal tour guide.
No worries.
I completed my project in Melbourne and then I whimsied my way over to Sydney to visit Rob from the plane. This is where it gets a little bit annoying. See, the thing about Australia is that if you visit Australia, you don't want to go home. As a maker, I am deeply moved by the presence of wonderful trees and animals and birds and all of these beautiful things that life has to offer. And to be frank, when put against the backdrop of my life in London, I started existentially questioning what I was doing. I could no longer look in the mirror and see a person who wanted to be in a metropolitan area anymore. But the biggest thing was not the plain boy, it was not the nature, it was not even the food, which is delicious, as is the coffee. The thing that confused me the most is that my Tourette syndrome went away. If you haven't watched the channel before and seen me hopping around and doing various twitchy things, then yeah, I have Tourette syndrome and it's something that I live with. It's not too much of an issue when I'm on film, but it is an issue in terms of real life. And what happened when I was in Australia was it just wasn't an issue anymore. There isn't enough research into Tourette syndrome to perhaps understand why that is, but factors such as stress or environment are deeply affecting in a Tourette sufferer's mind. And to me, this was indicative of the fact there has been some underlying stress from living in a place like London, which got me thinking yet again, am I doing the right thing? And as you're all smart people, I think you can see from my surroundings that I took matters into my own hands and I took a giant leap and a giant life change because everything just seemed to be indicating that I should. I didn't have anything tying me down and I'm still young enough to get a very easy 2-year visa, so here I am. To be blunt, there are more reasons why I made this move. There are actually hundreds of reasons, little or big. Quality of life, rent prices, all of the little nitty-gritty things that make a life. And truly, a big one which I haven't yet mentioned is the quality of my instruments. Really what I'm doing is calibrating with the business model that has evolved over time. When my business began, I didn't know that I'd be able to make art piece one-off guitars work. Subsequently, I built a bunch of industrial equipment around my shop to provide for the potential of making more than one at once. Now, it became very apparent that this was not what I wanted to do, and so I moved my business away from that, and I found clients and created pieces which were one-off, one at a time, fully focused, made by me, by hand. While in London, it's very hard to find a space that caters for the kind of work that I do. When I came to Australia, I saw an abundance of possibility in the spaces I was being exposed to. I found my perfect space in this room here. I'm up in the trees here, and as somebody who works with wood, what better way to bring trees to life? This area is brand new. I don't know anyone except from one guy that I met on the plane when I was delivering a hand-built guitar to somebody else in Florida. It doesn't make sense, but I've never felt like I've done more of an act of service for myself and my company. And I promise you, the videos that I shoot here will be more beautiful than the ones in London. I hope my client's experience will be enriched from this. I hope my own experiences will be enriched from this. And I hope to become a better craftsperson, going back almost entirely to hand tools, scaling back my space, focusing on building the best guitars that I possibly can. I do hope you'll join me. And don't worry, the old friends have come with me, but we've got some new ones now too. Catch you later.